The following is a Stars and Strikes doubles rebroadcast featuring some of our most memorable recent programs.
WNDS Sports and Tri-State Megabucks present Stars and Strikes doubles. From the Londonderry Bowling Center, Stars and Strikes doubles features the best Candlepin bowlers from around New England in team competition. Stars and Strikes doubles is produced in conjunction with the New Hampshire Candlepin Bowling Association. And now your hosts, Doug Brown and Dan Murphy.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Londonderry Bowling Center. This is week 2 of Stars and Strikes doubles, and we're very glad you decided to make us a part of your weekend here. Doug Brown, along with Dan Murphy. Last week, if you missed it, Joe Ashline and Reggie Deline came up with big numbers, 414 to win week 1.
Big numbers, big strikes, a lot of marks, and great bowling as a team.
All right, let's meet our 4 bowlers, our 2 teams today, and see who gets a crack at Joe and Reggie today. First of all, our returning winners from last week. They're our number 5-seeded team, but they certainly didn't bowl like a 5th-seeded team last week. From Needham, Massachusetts, Reggie Deline, his partner from Nashua, New Hampshire, Joe Ashline.
Okay, Reggie comes in averaging 122. His roll-off score was 660. And Joe Ashline comes in averaging 127, and his roll-off score the same at 660.
And last week, between them, 17 marks in 30 boxes. They rolled a 414 to defeat Bob Mazur and Steve Vadney. So today they try for 2 in a row, and they will try it against our number 3-seeded team from Amesbury, Massachusetts, Rico Baldinelli, and his partner from Plastow, New Hampshire, is Gary Carrington.
Okay, Rico comes in averaging 121, roll-off score 682. Gary Carrington averaging 131 and 678 for his roll-off score.
All right, this could be a terrific match. We invite you to stay tuned for this one. 3 strings, of course. The winning team moves into the semifinals next week, and we will be back with our first of our 3 strings of doubles bowling here on Stars and Strikes in a minute. Don't go away. In case you weren't with us last week, here are the 5 teams that we're seeing in this series on Stars and Strikes doubles. Last week, Reggie Deline and Joe Ashline with the big 414 to get the win over Bob Mazur and Steve Vadney, who threw a very respectable 378, but it just wasn't enough on that particular day. Rico Baldinelli and Gary Carrington, our number 3 seed, moving in to try and face the challenge today. The winners of this match will move on to face Tom O'Brien and Wayne Denon in the semifinals next week. And 2 weeks from today, we will have our championship match, Frank Rose and Dan Broder. But right now, it's time for Joe Ashline to start the match.
A little different start this week for him. Last week it was a strike. This week, a little split to contend with.
And a 9 for Joe. Interesting confrontation in this show too, Dan. We talked about this briefly last week. The second annual Tri-State Megabucks Doubles Tournament of Champions last May. The champions were Joe Ashline and Gary Carrington. They teamed together to win it, and now they're facing each other on different teams in this particular series. And of course, Joe has already qualified for the singles Tournament of Champions this year, so he's trying to become the first man to get into both events. Now Gary Carrington. These 2 guys, Joe and Gary, have bowled with and against each other an awful lot, and they have a very healthy, friendly rivalry, I would say.
That's for sure. While I'm thinking about it, we can congratulate Gary Carrington for winning the past month's Pro Tour, held at the Pilgrim Lanes. And on the women's side, Nancy Vestal. Congratulations to her.
Gary won it with a 732, and he was the only guy over 700, lapping the field. There has been a change on the Pro Tour this year. It's met with some controversy, I guess.
Yes, anytime you make change. We've dropped from 10 to 5. Contention there was hopefully to increase the membership, where your marginal bowlers now with 5 games, it levels the playing field a little bit. And I just hope they will stick with it for a few more years to make sure they give it a good try before they make any other changes. But
Reggie Deline.
Off target to the right is Reggie.
During this hour, we are going to begin to reveal the mystery that we have been perpetuating for the last couple of months.
I can hear everybody scrambling at home. He's going to tell us. He's going to tell us.
We've been talking about the fact that we're going to try something a little bit different a little bit later on this season here on Stars and Strikes Doubles.
Reggie drops a big 9, everything but the 5.
So we'll get into that a little bit here in just a few minutes. Reggie converts the single for the spare.
Their first mark of the match. Each team now with 1 spare. Now our first look today at Rico Baldinelli. That famous bowling name, Baldinelli.
That's right. Of course, if you were tuned in last week to mixed doubles, you saw Tony Marie.
That's right.
Baldinelli.
Cousin to Rico.
And if you missed her last week, you can catch her tomorrow. Because Tony Marie and Bruce Young won their opening match in the mixed doubles series. And they will be trying to make it 2 in a row today, or rather tomorrow. They will face John Maffeo and Tony Wellspring tomorrow at noon here on the Winds of New England as Rico Baldinelli converts the 10.
Too full on the head pin that time for Rico. And disappointing 6. So it's a 3-pin advantage, but Joe Ashline will probably erase that, because he's working on the spare now in the 4th. And he erases it in big fashion.
Well, that's what he was doing last week.
I was just going to mention that. If you missed it last week, he threw some monster strikes. I mean, they were quick. And this time, the fill on a spare is another strike by Joe Ashline. A little thin in the 1-2 pocket that time. 5, 7, and 9 pins. Piece of wood out in front, though. He may try to carry him the ball off that. See if he can get that for some help. Oh, he didn't catch enough of it. 8 fill, though, on the strike.
And the 8.
So much for that idea.
We've seen all the bowlers now. Joe Ashline having begun the 2nd rotation. Gary Carrington, his team trailing by 7. And Gary is going to have an interesting look here at the 1, 7, 9, and 10 with wood moving. And
certainly doesn't want it to stop there. He just motioned to Cindy to get on, check it, and tell me it's out of play. I don't think it's going to be, though.
He's wishing.
Yes.
It is in play, though. I don't know. On this shot, it may be better to have an extra piece of wood out in front moving around. Let's see. Well, couldn't cover the head pin with it, though. And the 9.
49 now through 5. And the lead now swings to the other side of the ledger. Deline and Ashline now lead by 16 through 5 frames. Three, 6, 10 in the right with a 7 pin in the left-hand corner for Gary Carrington. No playable wood to help him. Try to split the 3 and the 6. Ooh, pretty close.
There's the situation. 14-pin lead for our returning champions. It's the blue team. Deline and Ashline. Reggie Deline. Looking at the 1, 2, 4, and 9. And not quite. For the 10. 83 through 7. Reggie was hoping to give Joe a little bit more help this week. He was talking about that at the end of last week's show. He felt that Joe had carried the team a week ago, and there he comes up with a spare in the 8th.
And a nice one it was. Just nudging the 9 pin over.
Rico Baldinelli.
4 horsemen plus the 9. And a favorable piece of wood in the back that will probably cover the 9 for him if he was to split the 1 and the 2. Got to hurry though. Nope, left it out to the right.
And the 9. So the lead now 15, but Rico is opposite that spare in the 8th. Our presenting sponsor, as always, here on Stars and Strikes Doubles, our good friends at Tri-State Megabucks. Just imagine. Give it a try. Tri-State Megabucks.
1, 2, and 7. No wood for Rico. Oh, right around the 7. And it's a 10. Watch what happens to that 2 pin.
Actually did touch it. Not enough.
Well, Joe Ashline comes up working on the spare, put up by his partner Reggie Deline. You heard Joe. Oh no. It was worse than an oh no, too. Pull that one way to the left. Recovers a little bit there with the second ball.
And the 10. So 106 with 1 to go.
Next week, Tom O'Brien and Wayne Denon will be the challengers. Four horsemen left for Joe. And the 7 pin stands for Joe Ashline as well.
And the 9. So 115 for Deline and Ashline. But still, it will take 2 marks here, 2 big marks for the team of Carrington and Baldinelli that have the lead after one. Gary trying to do something about that.
Both Rico and Gary missing that head pin with the first ball early in the match.
Missed it again. And the 9.
Obviously a subpar performance so far by Rico Baldinelli and Gary Carrington, but we're still very early.
Yeah, and with the fact that Joe and Reggie were just able to counter with a 115, they weren't able to run away and hide, so far from decided yet. Oh my. Gary just doesn't look comfortable yet. And that's a 5-box for a 92. So a 23-pin lead for Joe Ashline and Reggie Deline after game 1. They lead it with a 115. We'll be back with game 2 in a minute. Rico Baldinelli will start game 2. His team trailing by 23. About to say they need to get on the head pin more, but sometimes that's not necessarily good news. Oh, almost. A great effort.
Pretty good effort there is right.
Something, a shot like that could have gotten them going, maybe.
That's what it's going to take sometime. A cut shot, you know, throwing a couple pins across lane for a nice spare, something just to relax them a little more. And
we happen to be taping today's show on a day when we've had some of our constant New England winter weather this season. Some hardy souls have come out to join us.
See, what week was that?
Yeah.
What day?
Pick one. And the 9. So 2 opens for Baldinelli and Carrington. They have just 1 mark in the match.
One, 7, and 9 for Reggie. A couple pieces of wood in front of the 7, another one behind and in between the 1 and the 9.
Nope. Well, let's begin to unravel this mystery a little bit, because I know everybody's been curious about exactly what we're going to be doing. Of course, we do have, after this series here on Stars and Strikes Doubles, we have one more regular series to determine our last team that will get into the doubles tournament of champions. And so that would mean, what, 7 weeks from today, we'll be starting something new and different, something that's never been tried on televised candlepin bowling, in the States anyway.
Right.
It's been done in Canada. And we're hoping that, that you enjoy it. Those of you who are familiar with the skins game telecasts in golf will know exactly what we're talking about, because that is the format we're going to be using. As Reggie Deline cleans that up for a 10.
19 after 2. Still a 23-pin advantage for Deline and Ashline.
Don't want to bog you down with too many of the details yet, but basically what's going to happen is, instead of having 10 bowlers in doubles competition during that 4-week series, we will have 10 bowlers competing individually in skins competition. So there'll still be 4 bowlers on each show, but they'll be bowling individually. And just like in skins for golf, there will be prize money determined by exactly what the bowlers do. They will have to earn their prize money box by box. For those of you who are not familiar with the skins format, basically what it is each bowler will roll 1 box at a time. if, say, one bowler throws a strike and the other bowlers don't mark in that box, the bowler with the strike has won that box, and he will win the money value assigned to that box. And there's a big strike for Gary Carrington. Maybe that will break the logjam for the team. Gary having a little fun with the crowd. That was a big strike. Very quick.
And basically what we're looking for in the skins is 2-tie, all-tie. So to increase the prize money for each box, we will like carryovers, and that's when if I threw a strike and then you threw a strike, at least two of us would be ties, so that box would not be given to anyone, but the amount of that box would be carried over to the next. So the pot can grow quite fast.
Spare for Joe Ashline as he converts the diamond, made it look very easy, which of course is not the case. Right, so with each box assigned a dollar value, and the dollar value increasing as the game continues, there is, with 4 bowlers rolling, of course, there is good chance that we're going to have some carryover jackpots available.
Each of the 4 bowlers will be bowling a total of 2 games.
Right.
And of course, the total pinfall is still important because the highest 2 bowlers, 2-string total, will be carried over to the next week.
We'll take a break and talk a little bit more about this here on Stars and Strikes Doubles in a minute. Joe Ashline and Reggie Deline with the lead. Don't go away. Well, Rico Baldinelli is working on a strike left over by his partner, Gary Carrington, as they try to crawl back into this thing.
Right now, Rico's biggest rooter is his partner, Gary Carrington, trying to fire him up and get him going. And just missing that spare. Played it on the inside, 7 on the fill.
Well, the deficit is 20 right now for Rico and Gary. Rico Baldinelli from Amesbury, Mass. Works at Baldinelli's bowl away. And a half Worcester. Rico's still looking for his first mark. He's starting to scare him up a little bit, though.
This is the type of format where you bowl 2 and then have to wait 6 entire frames before you get back up there. So if you're struggling, it's really hard to get on track, I should say, and get that first mark up there. Now you begin to sit back and think about it and press a little more when you get up.
This is Reggie Deline. Neither team really lighting the world on fire here in this match so far. And Reggie takes a 7.
So it's only 47 through 5 for the team of Deline and Ashline. As you can see, 18 pin advantage, though, opposite an open frame. So a chance for them to build up a huge lead. It's not happening. They're keeping Rico and Gary in this match.
An 8 box. So actually a couple of pins gained in count there for Baldinelli and Carrington, and the lead is down to 17. Gary Carrington just slipping by the head pin that time. Gary from Plastow, New Hampshire. He and his wife Kathleen have 2 sons, 11-year-old Matt and 5-year-old Michael. Oh, yes. Fine shot for Gary for the spare.
Well, the last 2 boxes have been a strike and a spare for Gary.
Gary works for AT&T in North Andover. And he works hard on his candlepin bowling, too. As Dan mentioned, his average a 131.
Now he's got the triangle in the left-hand corner, 4, 7, 8, but also has the 3-pin standing, which is the closest one to him. I have a feeling he's going to have to play the 3. Let's see if he can get that wood to come off the wall, but I think it's the 3-pin. That's what he tried to do.
$10. So that, in a nutshell, is what's going to be happening for that 4-week series here on Stars and Strikes Doubles. We hope you enjoy it. We'll be explaining a little bit more about it in the weeks to come. And, of course, when the time finally arrives that we move into that 4-week series, we'll explain it in full detail. But actually, I guess the big change that we should mention is that it'll be somewhat the opposite of a normal doubles series, in that even though we have 10 bowlers and 4 bowlers on each show, instead of starting the 4-week series with the bowlers at the bottom of the 10 that qualify, in other words, bowlers 7, 8, 9, and 10, because they have to come up and win 4 shows, if you will, in order to get into the Tournament of Champions. This skins game event will stand by itself, and obviously the bowlers that finish at the top of the roll-off should be given the opportunity to win the most money. So we start from the top.
That's their reward for bowling as well as they did in the roll-off,
right,
being able to win as many skins along the way or have that opportunity.
So it'll be candlepin skins, something a little different. Here on Stars and Strikes Doubles, still several weeks away. We'll keep you posted. Rico Baldinelli still trying to work it out here.
If he's missing to the right. Leaving that, hanging the ball out to the right a little. Got to change the angle. He's coming at the pins a little bit by moving possibly a little more to the right on the approach, or a little closer, something. He's got to make a change here. Late in the match, and he's got to get back on that head pin with the first ball.
This is Rico's first appearance with us on Stars and Strikes Doubles. He made a nice splash for himself last year on the singles show when he came in last April. Oh, there it is. Big strike in the 10th.
That's the Rico we know.
That's his first mark. He's happy about that. And he came on last spring and beat Bob Kelly to qualify for the Tournament of Champions last year. And then in the tournament, he lost to Peter Flynn in the semifinals. There's a double strike in the 10th. Double strike for Rico Baldinelli.
Someone finally gave him that wake-up call. Say, hey, this is a lot more fun, throwing one ball box. In this case, 2, but they're both strikes.
115 plus a ball. Looking for 3. No, he'll take 4.
A little heavier with that one. But from 87 in the 8th, you can see, finishing with a 119. Good finish by Rico Baldinelli.
Well, that means this thing could get a little tighter unless Reggie Deline throws some marks here in the final 2. That was on a spare fill, just 3.
He had 2 marks this game, and both 3 fills were produced on those marks. But the more glaring thing is the number of pins that they have left standing. They've left 10 pins, make it 11 pins now standing.
Well, the lead right now, 13, but of course with the double strike in the 10th, that could change in a hurry.
Reggie back on the head pin again, this time the 2, 4, and 6. No wood.
If Reggie doesn't mark, Baldinelli and Carrington will take the lead. And that is exactly what's going to happen. So 2 almost mirror images here, these first 2 games. The scores nearly identical. Here in game 2, Rico Baldinelli and Gary Carrington with the 119, and they now have a 2-pin lead in this match with 1 game to go. The winners to move into the semifinals. We'll be back in a minute. Well, here we are, game 3, just 2 pins. The difference here.
Scores aren't high, but it certainly is close. And another split, 2-4-6, same shot that Reggie Deline, his partner, had to shoot at. No wood.
Each team with just 5 marks in the match. 3 of the 5 are strikes for Baldinelli and Carrington, including that double by Rico. And Joe Ashline, who, as you saw a moment ago, had that big week last week with 5 strikes on his own. Joe had 12 marks in 16 boxes last week.
Wow. Came to play, that's for sure.
This week, a little different. Just not happening for him.
1, 3, 7, 8, and 10.
Talked about this a little bit last week. I don't know if this has ever happened before. We have, right now in these 2 series we have going, the mixed doubles on Sunday and here on Saturdays, we had 1 bowler in each roll-off roll a 200 game and not qualify for the show. In the doubles roll-off, it was David Blaine with a 202. He wound up finishing 12th, just 3 pins away from a possible appearance. And in the singles roll-off, it was Jim Flynn with a 203. Who, in spite of that, did not make the program.
Gary sliding by in the right, so he's still looking at the 4 horsemen left plus the 10 pin. And it's just going to be a 7. So why don't we just tie this match up and let's just make it a 9-box match.
The winners come back next week against Tom O'Brien and Wayne Denon in the semifinals. Gary wouldn't mind seeing that 4-pin go over, especially since it might take another one with it, but it'll stay.
Suppose these 4 bowlers have something to do next week. It's like they're playing not to win here. So, lead goes back to Deline and Ashline by 1.
Wait, not much to shoot at.
Bowlers are so superstitious too. You know, they're going to start developing a phobia about red shirts. You know, it's gonna, oh no, not red. I'm the red team.
Reggie with a 9. Why don't we say next mark wins? How's that?
That's right. Yeah. Sudden mark death. Dropped that ball badly to the right. Released that ball prematurely and left it to the right.
And look out. Almost the recovery for the mark.
A-10s are looking awfully good right about now. Well, let's make it a 9.
4 in a row for the team of Ashline and Deline. So Rico Baldinelli will step up to try and put a mark on the board. Last time he was up there, he threw a double strike, remember?
It's been so long, though. I hope he didn't forget. Well, it's off to the right again. Let's see. Well, makeable spare, though.
That helped, right.
1, 2, 7, 10. Piece of wood that's going to help him with the 7 pin. And another piece of wood in front of the 10, which may help.
Nope. He makes this for the 10. It'll be all even again. Rico took a quick look over at the scoreboard before he took that 3rd shot.
Want to know what down it was.
All even. 7 boxes to go. Ashline and Deline have a 9 up here in the 4th. And Rico will have something to shoot with here.
Not an easy spare, though, with the 8-pin in the back. That'll be the problem pin, I'm sure, if he's on the 2-pin.
Well, there you go.
For the lead, though.
1 pin at a time. Joe Ashline just turned around and said, "We need a commercial." Okay, Joe, you got one. We'll take a break. 1 pin is the difference in the match. 6 boxes to go, and we'll be back to decide it in a minute. Joe Ashline, try and break the drought here. 5 marks for each team, but no marks in this game yet.
Joe really came up at the point of release there. He's almost standing up straight when he released that ball. Got a good break, though. The 1 and the 7 pins left. Piece of wood behind and in between the 1 and 7 should help.
Oh.
Only if you hit the head pin, though. People are watching at home. I can do this. It's a strange game sometimes. This is the same team that rolled 4-14, as you saw in the graphic from last week.
4-14 last week. They may struggle to get 3-14 this week. The way things are going. Joe just slipping by the head pin.
Again, not an easy spare. 4 horsemen left and the 10 pin still up there. No wood to help.
Well, it'll be another opening for Baldinelli and Carrington. They have the advantage of last at bat in this 3rd game. There's the situation. And let's see, how about it? It'll be a 9 drop. The 2 pin.
Just the 2 pin for one of those, what do they call them?
Oh, I think it's a spare. That's only the 3rd spare for the team. They have 3 strikes also.
That double strike is looming real big right now by Rico Baldinelli at the end of that 2nd game.
Oh, a 9 drop again for Gary. As all of a sudden, he has found the secret.
Last time it was a 2 pin, this time the 3 pin.
The lead is up to 10, now 11 with back-to-back marks plus a ball working when Rico Baldinelli steps up next time. So, a little break in the log jam here.
Final rotation of the 4 bowlers now. And Reggie will have something to shoot at. The 2, 4, and 7. He's just got to be thinking 3 pin.
Nope. That hurts because now Fox is running out.
Not only did it hurt, but he looked like he rushed that last ball. And every pin, as you say, counts now.
Oh, boy. That always seems to happen when things are going badly,
I hate when that happens.
I don't think Reggie likes it much either.
Well, he's not going to leave one up there for his partner. Joe is going to have to do it all himself the last two frames, assuming Rico doesn't want to lock him right out.
Let's take a look. at the 10 bucks.
Big ball for Rico on a spare in the 6th.
Lead 11 plus this ball. Through the heart for just 5.
Well, that'll push it up into a double mark situation, though, and Joe Ashline has only 2 frames remaining, so if Rico was to put one up in the 8th for his partner, he'll certainly have the advantage going down the stretch.
The 9, that adds another pin, so it's 17 right now, the lead for Baldinelli and Carrington. Rico sliding by the head pin, but let's see what he has. He'll have the 1, 7, and 8. Tricky wood.
Yeah, not a real good angle for clearing out the 7 and 8 pins. Gave it a try.
You saw Rico, he just let it go, and he knew he had put it in a pretty good spot. He just had to wait and see what happened. Well, there'll be room for Joe Ashline.
Yeah, Joe will have to put 2 marks up and hope Gary does not mark at all.
9. So the lead is 16 pins, which means Joe Ashline must have 2 marks in some form or another in order to have a realistic hope. They have not had a mark in this game. Gone 10 boxes without a mark right now. On lane 30.
Broke a little sharp at the end, full in the head pin. Oh,
Boy,
what an effort.
He gave that a heck of a ride.
Well, can only harness some of those strikes he had last week. That's what he's going to need in the 10th.
It's a 9 box. Let's see what happened on the spare try.
Wood actually killed that shot.
Yep. 82 through 9. And boy, still not much to shoot at for Joe.
Well, that should just about do it. Gary's just going to have to keep the ball in the lane when he gets up there. Just an 89.
And a 3-game total, 298. Well, how things can turn around. That's 116 pins less than a week ago. Gary Carrington with a little icing on the cake. And that does it right there. All he needed was to keep the ball on the lane once, and he did it for a strike. So it will be Gary Carrington and Rico Baldinelli next week in the semifinals against Tom O'Brien and Wayne Denon. Oh, spare on strike. Fine shot for Gary.
Fine shot indeed.
117 plus a ball. And 6 more for a 123. A 3-game total of 334. Good enough for the win for Gary Carrington and Rico Baldinelli. They will advance to the semifinals. We'll talk to the bowlers. I'm sure they'll be real excited about talking about this match. And we'll tell you about next week, too. Don't go away. All right, welcome back to Stars and Strikes Doubles here at the Londonderry Bowling Center. We'll bring Dan Murphy back here in just a second, but first of all, let's call up our bowlers. First of all, I'm sure they're very anxious to come on up and get their checks. Joe Ashline and Reggie Deline. They're going to fight each other not to stand next to me because they know the person who stands next to me will probably have to talk more. There you go, Joe, and I know you don't want to take it, but you can. Well, I guess you explained all the strikes last week, so how do you explain this week?
I don't know. I bowl like Reggie, I guess, from last week. So you can talk to Reggie on this one.
Well, I guess this is a perfect example of sometimes it's there and sometimes it isn't, I guess.
Well, after last week bowling a 414, we all stunk today.
I guess you probably would have taken the average maybe of the two. That might have been good enough.
No, that was pretty bad. That was real bad.
Well, obviously, we're going to be seeing you later in the year anyway because you've already qualified for the singles tournament of champions. Still another shot to come back here, and we hope to see you again.
I'll be up there finals in Sunset.
We know you'll bounce back from all this. So congratulations. Thanks, guys. Come on up, Gary and Rico, and we'll chat here for just a minute. Gary Carrington and Rico Baldinelli, the winners, as they come up with the explosive third game to win it. Well, this was kind of a thing where I was joking, next mark wins, and that was pretty much it. You guys put a couple together, and that was the difference.
Yeah, so I said to Rico, I says, the team that's in the 90 games ain't going to make it on this one. It was a tough game. We had 78 after 7. It's like we're pulling away a little bit, and that was tough bowling out there. And hopefully next match it's got to get a little better than this one.
I'll tell you what, though, you look back to the last box of that second game, and that double strike you threw turned out to be real big, gave you the lead at least.
Yeah, I mean, only 2 marks, but I guess they come in a good spot, I guess.
Ordinarily, you'd like to see it come, up in the game a little bit more, but that was a big spot in the match right there. Well, you talked about next week, Gary. You got Tom O'Brien and Wayne Denon coming in for the semifinals. The good news is you throw this score out and you start all over again.
Right? Yeah. You throw a score like that, you get away with it, and deal is now that we got to take advantage of it and come back with something good next time around.
We'll see you next week. Congratulations, Gary Carrington, Rico Baldinelli with the win. We'll send you over, and you'll be able to look exactly at what's going to happen next week. As Gary and Rico, I think, are just thankful to be getting an opportunity to come back, Dan, and try for a second week in a row as they will go against our number 2 seeded team, Tom O'Brien and Wayne Denon.
I don't know if I'd want to be the team coming in next week. They're not going to bowl like that again next week, so the next team is going to be in a little bit of trouble.
A reminder, too, that tomorrow here on the Winds of New England, we will have our second week of our mixed doubles series. That'll be Bruce Young and Tony Marie Baldinelli going for their second win in a row. They will face off against John Maffeo and Tony Wellspring. Be sure and join us tomorrow for that at noon, and of course next weekend for a semifinal week here on Stars and Strikes Doubles next Saturday at noon. Until then, for Dan Murphy and the whole Winds crew, I'm Doug Brown. Have a good weekend, everybody.